Ladies and gentlemen, if sensitive topics are not for you, you definitely want to turn this one off. We are going to be digging into the extremely controversial kidnapping of Mae Begay from the Navajo Nation reservation, kidnapped from her home with her vehicle.
Begay lived alone in this isolated ranch on the Navajo reservation in Arizona. On June 15, 2021, her prized Ford F-150 was seen leaving her house at 2:30 in the morning. After days of searching, Navajo police announced a person of interest, and they transitioned the case to a foul play investigation.
We've spent time with her niece, who has powerhoused the movement to spread awareness for not only her aunt's disappearance, but for the alarming numbers of murdered and missing Indigenous women in this country on American soil.
Warren decided to take matters into her own hands, hoping that someone would hear her family's story. That meant embarking on a 90-mile journey to the Navajo capital, all on foot.
We are also going to be discussing in depth the niece's recent charges. She's been indicted by the FBI for kidnapping herself. It is nothing short of shocking, and if you make it to the end of this episode, it's going to change the way you feel. It's going to change the way you think in regards to what happens on American soil, on Native American reservations.
Hi. I'm a hugger, is that okay?
All right.
All right. Very nice to meet you. I just want to help, and we can go through all of this, and we can come up with a plan and legitimately determine, like, all right, hey, we're a really good resource for this, or we can make something happen, or we can take this and create a voice for this to put a big operation together to make something happen. Man, that we've succeeded. You know a lot. You know, you've done your homework, and you care, and you've done more work than a lot of individuals that I've ever come across. And it says a lot about your heart and what it is you're setting out to do, or what you've already set out to do. You have insane motivation and passion, and that's rare. That's extremely rare, and it shows. So let's get to it.
She disappeared with her vehicle on June 15th at 2:30 a.m. in the morning.
Yes.
And who was the last person to see your auntie?
Her youngest daughter. She has one oldest son and then two daughters and then 9 grandkids. And I think she has 2 great-grandkids.
Wow, big family, big family.
Yeah.
And the area of Sweetwater we're referring to is on the reservation, and it's sort of like in the Four Corners area.
Yes.
On the Arizona side.
Yes.
Okay.
She lives like a 30-minute drive from the Four Corners Monument.
So your aunt went missing. It's June 15th, 2:30 a.m. One of the last individuals to see her was her daughter. What was going on in that time? Was there anything unique, or was there anything mysterious going on, or was it just normal life and she just up and vanished?
A lot of this stuff don't make sense. The last time I guess I seen her, my truck was stolen. It was
your truck was stolen?
Yeah, my truck was stolen a couple months before my aunt went missing. 2 weeks after I got my truck back, or when it was stolen, my uncle, he's in a wheelchair. He's been in a wheelchair for 45 years. He got assaulted by one of my cousin brother, which is the son of my other aunt that's in a relationship with this person that's incarcerated right now for my aunt's disappearance. And then she went missing 2 weeks after that incident with my uncle. And this all happened within that 2 months. And so when I was told she was missing, I seriously did not understand what that meant because, like I said, her husband was murdered. She knew the dangers and everything of what it was like now than it was back in the day. Her grandson also murdered. I don't know if it was in retaliation or if it had any connection, but her grandson murdered the grandpa of the family that murdered my uncle 22 years ago, and that happened before the pandemic. And so that was something that I know that she would not have just randomly opened the door for anybody, because that family did threaten her before and told her she was going to be next just because of what happened.
Your aunt, Ella Mae, who was missing, her daughter's door was kicked in.
And she lives 50 yards from my aunt's house.
So she lives basically almost right next door to your aunt. So her daughter's door gets kicked in. When was this?
She didn't give us a time. She just says that it got kicked open, and then she just basically told us that she was scared. She didn't know who the person was.
Is this like the same day that your aunt goes missing? So the same day your aunt goes missing, same morning, next door, her daughter's door is kicked in, hid because she was fearing for her life. This individual left, and shortly after, she sees her mom's truck leaving, allegedly. Okay. And you're saying that the police think that nobody took her there. There was was there signs of forced entry?
No.
No signs. So that's why they think she opened the gate. So they had to open the gate and open the door. Your aunt was very skittish. She was very careful about who she talked to. Like, she wouldn't even come outside and talk to you right away until she confirmed what car it was, who you were, what you were doing there. Even if she knew you, she was making sure that, So she was very, very careful. So no broken windows, no broken doors, no broken gates. And your aunt just disappears without a trace. After she goes missing, Joanne called Preston?
Preston's, so my other aunt, Ella Mae's youngest sister, is in a relationship with Preston's dad.
Okay.
And they live 7 miles from my auntie.
Okay.
So Joanne calls that auntie, that's in a relationship with Preston's dad.
Okay.
So they were on scene first.
Okay. All right. And bring us into who Preston is. Who is Preston? Because we know right now the FBI has charged him with certain crimes related to her disappearance.
He got charged with two charges. One is carjacking and great bodily harm to my aunt. So he's incarcerated right now. He's 23 years old, and his name is Preston Henry Toll. He is not from the area. He is 3 hours east of where he was arrested 3 days later.
The FBI locks him up. Do you have any idea what led the FBI to Preston?
My other sister, she lives in Farmington, and it's like maybe a 45-minute drive from her house to Ella Mae's house, and she was told that my aunt was missing, so she instantly went over there to my aunt's house, and when she pulled up, she said the FBI was there, Joanne was cleaning, and there was neighbors that were going in and out, and she didn't think it was right that Joanne was cleaning and that FBI or the criminal investigator were still taking pictures when, somebody's already been in there. So they should have chased everybody out, but they didn't, and everybody's just in there. And I guess that's when Joanne told my sister that Preston's dad, when they came over, told her that it better not have been Preston. So it was the dad that named him his son. 3 days after my auntie went missing, they had all this evidence, like the bloody clothes, the confessions and everything. But it almost took them 2 years for them to finally prosecute, and I didn't understand what took them so long. And so this guy was out after that. My aunt went missing. He was arrested, and then they let him out, and he assaulted other people along the way.
To my understanding, and what has been told to us is he is being charged federally with carjacking and great bodily harm They have not charged him with murder.
No.
And he did not confess to murdering. He confessed to harming her and leaving her, and that she was alive when he left her. Meanwhile, she's never been seen since. Her vehicle has never been seen since. And it's pretty typical for those type of charges. They're going to charge him just to hold him, but without a body, without the vehicle, it's kind of hard to get him for murder, especially federally. But he's admitted to harming her, and he admitted to taking her and the vehicle. I think it's safe to say that with those circumstances, allegedly he's the culprit. I mean, as of this recording, he hasn't been convicted, but the evidence is pretty overwhelming. It's pointing to him allegedly doing this. The FBI thinks that has happened. I think it's pretty safe to say. And that's why we're here. We're here because she has not been found. Her vehicle has not been found. And anytime you have this type of case, the next step is the vehicle. If we find the vehicle, it could lead us to your aunt.
Yes.
There's a high likelihood in that. Where do we search though? Where do we go? We're talking about an area that's very vast, a lot of opportunities. He gave a confession to the FBI saying he drove the vehicle into New Mexico and sold it for methamphetamine. Nobody believes that, from what I've been told. The feds don't believe that because of license plate readers, and the vehicle it would have turned up by now had that happened. The odds of that happening are just, it's been 2 years, you know. What do you believe happened based on everything that you've done, because you've done so much research? So bring us where your aunt's house is.
LMA's house, the Emmanuel Mission, and then the chapter house over here. And this is just an area where we're supposed to search. So what Preston is saying is he dropped off my aunt over here on this site. The thing about this is there's a wash right here. This whole thing is a wash. And then there's a wash right here. And based off of what the neighbor said, that she's seen my aunt drive from her house over through here, and then this road goes by that mountain. That would be this route that goes from here this way, and it takes this route from my aunt's house, and it goes to that 160. Four Corners is this way. And
So this is the Utah state line right here?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So this is Arizona, Utah,
New Mexico.
and New Mexico right
And then
here.
Colorado.
So
Yeah.
that's this corner right here is considered the Four Corners. And the Navajo Nation is through those Four Corners.
So what I was looking at is, when I zoomed out, is this area, it looks exactly like this on this side. Like, I mean, if this guy wasn't from here, I know he did a lot of work with his dad on this side. And if he was asked, where were you at? He's going to say something he normally knows. He's not going to say something on the north side. He's not going to tell you and direct you in that direction.
Because he doesn't know.
Yeah. I drove that evening, and this is where these pictures come in. So this, when you're coming up to it in the dark or in the evening time, that's right here. That's this place. This one is over here on this side, right here. So that morning, we were told that my aunt's truck was seen right there. I don't remember what time it was seen, and that's on the north side. So if he went this way and he didn't know which way to turn, not knowing that he knew this road, I think he made that turn this way. And his the 5 mile or the 5 minute drive is my uncle's house is on the side, and that's where she lives. He would have been there to save her if he was called first. And I feel like that's where he turned right here, was back on this route. So I think he got it mixed up. He thought this was Emmanuel Mission because it looks almost the same as this area. And that's on this side. And that's what I was going to show the cops. So this is one route to get to my aunt's house. So he drove from here, that's Mae's house, all the way down. There's a dirt road, and it goes down. And then you get on 191, and you keep going. And then it turns into road 12, because the 191 comes down this way. And then you go over, and this one goes over the mountain. This is somewhere around here the phone was pinged.
Her phone?
Yeah.
So we have her phone pinged over here. Do we know where the cell tower is?
Huh.
Okay. So her phone pinged over here on this road, and that was the last ping, or?
I don't know. I was just told it pinged over here that morning, and then that's where the other one was. I don't know if there was another one anywhere else, but I drove that one, and I went 70 miles per hour, and these times are just all that. And then it turns right here. That's Route 9. We searched this whole road before. This road there's another road that goes over here. We searched that route also, but he lives over here. This is where, and it's 3 hours.
This is where Preston was from, down here.
Yeah. There's some lands that aren't owned by natives, and you're not allowed on it. So there's a lot of good hiding spots, is what we're told. And then
We're talking about land that nobody goes on, land that's not policed, land off the grid.
And then they said that there's a lot of vehicles that are burnt over there in that area, maybe stolen vehicles or something.
In this region right here.
I just don't know how to get those checked.
Do you think that her vehicle is out here? You believe her vehicle is out here, on land? So Preston was over here in the New Mexico side, down here.
Yeah. So if it took me 3 hours, and the person that seen him drive out of there is this area right here. She said at 7:30 she seen Preston drive my aunt's truck. So she literally made eye contact with him, and he was the one that was driving her truck that morning. And so that leaves me 2 hours gone somewhere along the way. So if the phone pinged over here like around 4 o'clock, that means she's still here in an hour over here. If I'm still at the same time and over here, then this ping would tell me if she's still in this area or not.
And the time discrepancies, I mean, it could be off. But if they're saying that he was seen in her truck down here, that means that's extremely credible. And you're talking about somebody they're not saying they seen a truck. They think they saw her truck. They're saying they seen him in her truck. That's what you call a reliable witness testimony. That's an observation that is credible in my line of work.
His family is known for these type of stuff. I guess they got away with a lot of crimes, so there's a lot of people that will tell you, look over here, look over there, there's burnt vehicles over here. And
did she have license plates on her vehicle at the time?
She did, but they were expired.
Okay, she did have license plates. All right. And none of her plate has never been read since she disappeared. So we know that plate's not being driven around.
Yeah.
On the reservation in this area, this is where the credible eyewitness spotted him in the vehicle. And outside of that, there's no other reason to believe the vehicle ever left that area. There's nothing else to believe that the vehicle ever left the area. So,
just based off what he was saying, I mean, that's just what he said, is that he sold it in Albuquerque.
Right.
And this is the interstate that goes to Albuquerque right here. To pick just my aunt, there has to have somebody with him to know to go to my aunt's house.
Right, because he doesn't know the area. And he's not comfortable there. He just moved there.
He's not going to go.
He's too young.
Yeah, knock on people's doors. No.
I believe if we find the vehicle, we solidify the murder charges. And solidifying the murder charges could be enough pressure for him to tell on who was involved. And it could arguably work in the prosecutor's best interest to work a deal with him. Hey, instead of life, we'll give you 50 years, but tell us who was with you. Tell us the whole story. And that might motivate him to tell the whole truth, if there's anything else involved.
Yeah.
The vehicle really is the key. And I think, especially if the vehicle is underwater, potentially, she's there too. And if we can give the FBI the vehicle and the body, we're hand delivering them murder charges. And those murder charges will be pressure. He'll tell, because he's scared. He's scared. That's why he's not telling the whole truth now. There's a reason why he doesn't want to openly say, I murdered her, I killed her, I dumped her here, because then he knows he's done. We can make a lot happen. There's so much possibility with finding this vehicle and finding her with the vehicle and what that can do to create a path to justice. I believe this is our target area. Based upon that eyewitness testimony, the vehicle is either on land out here or underwater. Do you think he could have known someone here?
Yes.
Do you think that he knew that this body of water was there?
Yes. Yes, that's his hometown. That's his place. His dad lives like closer to the side. We did search that area on the side too. Right here. I've been trying to want to go search over there for the truck. I just didn't have the manpower. I guess they get shot at. There's even search in that area some places.
So just being over here in that area where it's off grid, you're not supposed to be. People have been shot at. I mean, what do you think is dangerous for us to go down here?
They say that the community themselves say, yeah, it's dangerous to be out there by yourself. You have to have law enforcement. And law enforcement themselves don't go and try to be in certain areas. They won't, even if you call them, they're not going to come out and try to help you next.
We have drones that can fly. So if we can get to certain advantage points, we can comfortably cover a mile at a time and shift. So we just need to get to a safe spot to fly and observe. And we're looking for a truck. It's not, in the grand scheme of things, it's not going to be that hard. We just need to make sure that we're making decisions carefully, we're watching our backs, and we're doing it efficiently. We're gridding it off in the most logical area. I really like the probability of this region down here, because what is he gonna do? He's done something horrible and he's trying to get back home. He was chased off here. He's not from here. Where are you gonna go? You're gonna go back to the only area you're from. He was seen here with the vehicle, and then it just disappears. No other trace of her or the vehicle since. I believe that we can be a resource for this. It's just a matter of developing a plan, executing it, and making sure that we have the right resources aligned when we execute this. I think there's answers out here. It gives me chills just talking about it. I'm glad I'm here to help you.
Like, what do you think happened? And where do you think your aunt is?
I believe that watching my cousin's sister, the daughter, I don't believe her. I think she's involved in this somewhere, somehow. I believe she knows more of what had happened, even if she wasn't the person to harm my aunt. Everybody that last seen my aunt that day talked to her, don't help. So we just believe all of them know something.
The tangled web of multiple murders and imprisonments and retaliation in her family and around her family that she described definitely highlights the likelihood that her aunt being kidnapped maybe has something to do with a prior act, maybe has something to do with retaliation, because you guys heard, she described multiple instances of murders and retaliation and so forth. So this is deep. It's a lot deeper than any of us thought that this case was prior to getting in it. And it gets deeper. And her niece today is also federally indicted for kidnapping herself.
According to these newly unsealed federal documents, Warren, her husband, sister, and brother-in-law are all accused of kidnapping a man being referred to as John Doe and holding him for ransom. The documents then claim they went into the victim's home, where Warren allegedly hit him in the head with a blunt force object, then shot him with a paintball gun. From there, the group is accused of handcuffing the victim, driving him from Arizona to New Mexico. Then, for some reason not detailed in these documents, they let the man go in Farmington, New Mexico. This all allegedly happening just a few months before her Aunt Ella Mae Begay disappeared. raising the question if there is a connection.
When it comes to John Doe, I know exactly who he is. I know the circumstances behind the kidnapping, and I know exactly what happened. I have direct inside information from those directly involved, as well as law enforcement. John Doe is not being mentioned because John Doe himself is extremely controversial. I can tell you at the time that this took place, Seraphine's vehicle was stolen from her. We're on the reservation. Nothing, no help to her. Nobody helping her look for her vehicle. And she heard that this person had her vehicle. People were calling her and sending her pictures of this person with her vehicle. This person with her vehicle is a wanted violent felon who had committed several criminal acts with her vehicle. And mind you, there's nothing being done because this is taking place on the reservation. And she didn't sit back and continue to allow her property to just be taken from her, nor let her property continue to be harmful to others, in which it was being done. There were multiple accidents and other acts of criminal things that happened with her vehicle. She tracked him down on Facebook. She found him, and he did not admit to taking her vehicle, blamed it on a bunch of other people. And long story short, they did take him to New Mexico. They said there that, they didn't, the police didn't understand why. They just let him go in New Mexico. And I can tell you that they let him go in New Mexico because if they let him go on the reservation, nothing would be done. Mind you, he has a current violent warrant for his arrest in New Mexico at the time all of this is going on. So they took him, and they took him to New Mexico and released him where he would be arrested and no longer a threat to society. Take that as you will. I am not advocating for kidnapping in any way. What I am advocating for is everyone to step outside of your suburban bubbles and understand that life on the reservation is beyond a third world country where no one is there to help. You are your only help, and if you don't help yourself, no one will. And she took it upon herself to defend her property. Did she go too far? That's a whole nother argument. But it's not like it's being made out to be, because it's deeper than that. The life that they are forced to live is unfair, and we've dug into a little bit of that already. And I want to encourage each and every one of you to consider the circumstances with an open mind and an open heart and be understanding, because I guarantee you, each and every one of you who are listening to this, you cannot comprehend what it's like to live on a reservation and have no help. The statistics are staggering when it comes to crime on reservations. Guys, ladies, gentlemen, boys, girls, whoever's listening to this, if you know someone in this region that may know something, if you're on the reservation, I know this is going to be shared throughout the reservation. If you know something, reach out to us directly, reach out to the FBI, and, with the lack of act and appropriate responses, I'm going to advocate that you reach out to us directly. Reach out to us directly if you know something. You can be anonymous. Send us an email. The link will be in the description below. And you don't have to say who you are. You just need to allow us to step in and help the family. Help bring Ella Mae back so that her spirit can be set free. Help catch the individuals that are responsible for her kidnapping. Because right now, there's only one person that has been arrested by the FBI for her kidnapping. Only one. And everything that I know and I have learned from working on the reservation, there's multiple people involved. So somebody needs to come forward. And if anything comes from this, let it be the information that can bring closure to this reservation, to this family, to this community, because they need it. Mae Begay didn't ask to be kidnapped. She didn't ask to be taken from her home violently in an act that we can probably safely say is a retaliation. Things like this just don't happen, especially the individual that has admitted to taking her. He is not a criminal leader. There's no big grand scheme of, ransom here. We're talking about, a lot of probability of a cycle of horrific retaliation on the Navajo Nation. Make sure you share this. It can change a life. It can help a family. It can help a community, and it can close a case. You have the power to help from wherever you're sitting, from wherever you're watching, to help with this case.